Hi, everybody. I am back. I wanted to come on here and I will try to make this as short as possible. My last few uploads, I attempted, but I think I was a little bit closer to my goal the last video that I posted about the resumes, about you reaching out to someone if you need help, reaching out to someone that is qualified to help you, especially if you're trying to get into the federal government. Now, I wouldn't hire, that's just me, I wouldn't hire someone who has no clue as to what is needed to get into the federal government. I mean, yes, they may be able to read or have better reading comprehension once they read the vacancy announcement. However, if they lack the experience that HR or an HR professional would have, then they would miss a lot of things. Especially if someone, like we mentioned before, if someone is supposed to be if you hire someone, let's say this, if you hire someone to help you write your resume for a position in the federal government, and that individual doesn't ask you for the vacancy announcement, doesn't ask you for the vacancy announcement, because they can ask you what position you're trying to apply for. And then you tell them, the position. However, that's not enough, because the vacancy announcement tells you exactly what you need, what experiences you need to have, what specialized experiences you need to have. Now, if that individual is not even looking at the vacancy announcement, what position are they helping you write the resume for? Are you just trying to get them to write a resume and thinking that because you have a resume that was written by someone who says they are a professional, that is going to be enough? Especially if they didn't even look at the vacancy announcement, or they don't know what they're looking for in the vacancy announcement. So along with getting someone to assist you in writing your resume, someone who's qualified to assist you, I would also go as far as to say someone who worked in the federal government, someone who worked as a federal HR specialist, and someone who worked in recruitment and staffing, or staffing and placement. If that individual never worked at those capacity, in those positions, even though they were in HR or they worked in the federal government as a HR specialist, I'm not too sure that they're going to know exactly what is needed. And I think only HR, someone who worked in the federal government as an HR specialist, who has actually created positions, communicated with management to know exactly what management is asking for, or to even ask and guide management to determining what exactly they need. And once that individual federal HR specialist know exactly what the hiring manager is looking for, that's when they would go out there and post the vacancy, because they already know what the hiring manager needs, is looking for, who they're looking for, what qualifications they need that individual to have. So someone who doesn't know how to post a vacancy announcement, how to read a PD, how to create a job analysis, how to help the manager write the position description, who doesn't know how HR goes about classifying the position, to know what series, grade and series that position needs to be. Now, even hiring managers, they know what they want, but they don't know what they really want. They want someone who can do the job, but sometimes they usually want someone to do a job, and then they'll get anyone to come in because they don't really know. Now, I know that sounds bad, but then I've dealt with managers who are like that, who lack that experience, maybe because they're a new manager, maybe because they think that, they have the right person for that position, regardless what the position is, and figure that once the person get in, that the person will be able to learn on the job. Now, there are some things that you can learn on the job, different processes, especially if the agency is different systems. However, I'm not sure if you can really learn on the job the major duties of that position. So, if you're hiring someone who doesn't have that background, I don't know. You might have to keep hiring people to help you write your resume. But I'm here to tell you, if you're going to do that, hire someone who has actually done the job, actually recruited for people, because they know what they're looking for in a resume. Now, the resume that anybody is writing for you may not be the resume that you need for that particular position. It may be the best resume since sliced bread, but if it's a resume that's a combination of every single thing and doesn't speak about the specific things that this position needs, then I don't know, how far you think you're going to get with that resume. Along with the resume, making sure that the resume is written to the capacity that HR can determine whether or not you have the experience needed. You meet the specialized experience. After they reviewed everything, after they reviewed your documents to make sure that you are eligible for the position. Now, in discussing the documents, it's also very important what documents you need. If you're new to the federal government and not a vet, or even if you are a vet, there are certain documents that you need to provide. For the vets, you would need to provide your DD-214. You can't say you're a vet and don't have a DD-214. And if you do not have a DD-214 member 4 copy, if you have the member 7, I don't know if the member 7 says whether or not you were honorably discharged. So that's all we need to see, that you actually were in the federal government, you were working in the military, and while you were working in the military, that you were working in the military, especially if you're trying to get veterans preference or the points, veteran points, to help you max out the scores. There's a score system, and that score system determines whether or not your application or when your application will be reviewed. So if a veteran is trying to get into the federal government, they do not have their DD-214, and they're using that as an eligibility. They're using that for a preference. Then if it's just for the preference and then they have everything else, then they may not get that preference. They would be in the same category with everyone else unless they are able to prove that they are in the federal government, or if they even have any letters, documentation, a VA rating, a letter determining what your percentage was from the VA. If those documents are not uploaded, more than likely you won't get those preferences that you're looking for. And oftentimes it may decrease your chances of getting in right away. So those documents are very important. Your educational requirements, if there's any educational requirements for that position, you need to also provide your transcript. Now, we know that it's impossible for you to provide a sealed transcript. So having a copy of a transcript is okay for you to upload. Because if that position has any educational requirements, we would give you, there's a link, depending on the agency, that they'll provide or that they have where you can reach out to the school. And most of the schools, everything is online now. You can reach out to the school, and then the school will mail the official transcript to HR, to the HR officer. And then that HR specialist will open that transcript and then determine whether or not, that you meet whatever education, or that to justify or to verify or to finalize, or and to also file it, because official copy is needed. Official document is needed, not a copy of an official document. You can provide that for us to see that you do meet the educational requirements, if there is one for that position. And also, if you're trying to get in for any type of disabilities. Now, this one is funny. When I worked in the federal government, now everybody knows that you're supposed to provide a letter from your doctor saying that you have a disability, and that disability does not prevent you from performing the duties of that particular position, because then you would have to speak to your physician. They would have to know, they would definitely have to know, especially if they're going to provide you a letter, because then they will determine whether or not your disability would not be a disbenefit to you when you actually get into the federal government. Because if you have a disability that keeps you from performing your duties, let's say if you have a disability that you always get seizures and so forth. Now, I don't know what physician is going to take that chance and say that you can perform the duties of your position if you are constantly getting seizures, if you can't even get to work because it's not safe for you to drive on the road. So now, depending on the disability, it can help you. However, that document needs to be written by a physician. They need to stamp their license, they need to sign it, and then put their license number and so forth. Now, if HR ever gets audited, they will definitely look at that information. Now, you may think that your doctor is moving, it's not going to be in the area and so forth. All that information can be found in the system. So if we want to write things in, because I've seen people who attempted to do that, They didn't get past HR, especially when HR was looking, and especially the way they thought that they were doing it. And also, I have seen people upload a letter into their application, with their application, and said that I spoke to my doctor, and my doctor determined that my disability wouldn't hinder me from doing my job. Therefore, I can use my disability to help me become eligible for that position, because that position is open to individuals who has a disability can apply for that position. And then they would even go on to say that my doctor is gonna send me a letter. After I get in, I can provide you that letter. Who is Boo Boo the Fool? Not HR. Now you may think that HR is Boo Boo the Fool, but we cannot be Boo Boo the Fool, because the position that we hold, we swear an oath that we would execute the duties of our position to the best of our abilities and to a benefit to the federal government. So now, if we're trying to just get people in, then, and not honoring the oath that we swore to, we can lose our ability to post vacancy announcements. We can even lose our ability to perform in an HR capacity. They can move you and have you, they can move an HR specialist and have them working in any old job, because, sometimes it's difficult to get a employee out of the federal government. So, and some managers don't have the time, they don't know how to, or they're just afraid. So now, instead of that individual getting moved or getting out of the federal government, they'll move them around. So if HR was to ever look at the document and know that it's a faulty document and accept it, that HR would definitely look like a fool, and it would get reprimanded and so forth. And even before that individual is in that position, we would have to rescind the offer, because that position didn't provide the right documents. That individual did not signify or give us all the documents that we needed to determine that they are eligible. And then just think about it. Having someone get into the federal government who really is not supposed to be in the federal government, or got into the federal government, took somebody else's position, a disabled person's, position, who can actually do the job, and they can't do the job. Even if they can do the job, they could have just waited. They could have just gotten the document, the letter from their doctor, as opposed to them writing it as if we were going to wait for it. Now, another thing, when you guys provide those documents, make sure every single thing is uploaded into the application and submitted before the closing date of that position, of that vacancy. There is no other times that you can provide that document. So the only thing that you are able to do is, once you apply, as soon as that vacancy is open and you know you want to apply for that position, upload everything. And if you already have it, which is probably the smarter thing to do, have it already uploaded into USA Jobs. There's several opportunities, or there's several files that you can upload. The resumes are restricted, not really restricted, but there's only a certain amount of resumes that you can upload into the system to hold for you. But as far as the different documents, transcripts, DD-214, licenses, all those things, you can upload every single one of them. So it's best if you already have them in there. When you actually get your resume completed, and then you upload your resume into the filing system, and then make sure that you're attaching the correct resume, because you have several options or several areas where you can keep your resume. I think it's about 5 slots. You can upload about 5 resumes, if I'm correct with that thinking, because I already have mine's left in there and stuff, but I date mine's. I dated for the position. I put the year, the month and year for the position that I'm applying for. So now, if it's a position that is similar to a HR position, where I can also work in the administrative series, then I can also upload that resume. But I need to make sure that I'm actually submitting the correct resume, submitting the correct documents. Now, I know I've seen also people upload a picture with their cover letter, a picture with attached to their license. I mean, your license, if it's a picture ID, it's a picture ID. But some people would put a photo that is not required, thinking that that's going to sway HR one way or the other into, I'm more than likely sway them to the side of them getting the position, because they see a picture of them. I don't know. But yes, so if it's not a driving ID, a driver's license ID, or an ID that has your picture in it, and that ID is needed, was requested for you to upload, because they need to determine if you have what they need, do not provide any pictures. This is not where you post pictures. Post pictures on Facebook, Instagram, I don't know, TikTok. I don't even know how TikTok works. I need to learn. Post your pictures there. Do not post it in a professional resume, because that it's not going to help you. In fact, depending on the hiring manager, and if the hiring manager is in HR and it's a HR position, they'll probably see it as you not paying attention. If you're not paying attention, then what do they need you in their office making mistakes because you're not paying attention? So make sure whatever you're uploading, that it is the right document, that it is the correct document, that it is an updated document. Now with the letter, if it's a disability letter where you get it from your doctor and stuff, depending on the disability, there's some disabilities that you cannot recover from. But then again, there's also some disabilities where you can recover from. If your doctor provided you a letter that is more than 10 years old, and you could have gotten better, there's a chance that you could have gotten better, that letter wouldn't help you much, because in a sense it is outdated, because it needs to be closer to the date of when you're applying for that position. Again, it depends on the disability. Now, if it's a missing limb or whatever the case may be, a limb that's not going to be, stop you from performing your duties. There's no way you're going to get a limb to grow back. So, I'm just saying for disabilities that you can heal from or that can change or that you can get better and stuff, try to make sure that that document is dated closer to when you're applying for that position. Now I'm thinking if it's more than 5 years and if it's something that you can recover from, just go back to your doctor and get your doctor to write you another letter. Because if they gave it to you before and they know that you needed it before and you actually need it now, I don't think it's going to be difficult for them to, give it to you. Sometimes they already have the templates ready. All they need to do is sign their name on there. The physicians, the doctors, they already know these things. So it's not going to be too much of a hassle for you to get it from them. So make sure you have the correct documents, you upload the correct documents, and make sure you click submit. Now you can keep submitting different things while the vacancy announcement is open, but soon as a vacancy announcement is closed, you cannot upload anything. And HR is not going to accept anything after that date. If you're saying that, yeah, but I put it on there that I was going to provide it, case in point, the letter that I said that they said the doctor is going to give it to them after they get in and stuff like that. So can I still send it? No, you cannot send it, because if we allow you to send it, then that means we need to contact everyone else and tell them, hey, you have an opportunity to submit something. Because part of our duties in HR is fair hiring practice and to not violate the merit system principles and to not give anyone favorable treatment, favorable opportunities more than we would give someone else. And those opportunities would have to be one that is legal, that can be accepted. So if you don't have your documents, then yeah, we won't accept it. And if it's a document that you need to determine that you're eligible to qualify for that position, to apply for that position, then you won't even get HR to actually review your resume, because they'll check on the, in the system to see all the documents. And if you don't have it, like I said, you're just wasting your time. So I really want to keep this short. So other than you getting somebody that knows how to write a resume, a federal resume, preferably someone who's worked in HR. Now, granted, the person may have written several federal resumes and actually gotten a few people in, but then, it may be by chance. But some classification standards, some series change, some systems change. So now, if they're thinking that they can provide a broad resume, or the resumes that they've written for people, 10 years ago, or depending on when the system changed or when that series is being modified, then it's going to be obsolete, because, it wouldn't reference what it is that you need for HR to determine that you qualify for that position, that you are best qualified for that position. You can be qualified, but if somebody is better qualified or is best qualified, then they're going to choose the best qualified person. I mean, wouldn't you? So again, make sure, upload the right documents. Make sure your federal resume is indeed a federal resume that is tailored for the position that you're applying for. If it's not, you are really wasting your time. And I'm pretty sure there's other things that you could do with your time, or there's, there's definitely other things that you could do with your time, as opposed to keep applying for positions and then never getting called, never getting your resumes reviewed, or never getting a notification that said you were found to be eligible to apply for that position. And even with a resume that's tailored to that exact position, if it's you'll never get the notification to say that you were found to be qualified for that series and grade. So if you don't have all those things in place, then your chances of getting into the federal government is going to be very, 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 very slim to non-existent or impossible. All right, guys. Well, like I said, I don't want to drag this too long, and I don't want to beat a dead horse. However, I keep reiterating it because it is very important. If you really want to get into the federal government, take a listen to what's being said. And then what's the worst thing that can happen if you actually follow what someone who was working in the federal government as a federal HR in recruitment, staffing, and placement tells you? I think it will be more of a benefit to you than a disbenefit. So, all right, guys. Well, good luck. And I will be back on here. I hope not to beat a dead horse. Now, each time I come on here to discuss different topics, or to reiterate different topics or similar topics, is because I am seeing a lot of people having the same issues over and over and over and over again. I'm thinking if they hear it several times, it'll stick. So try not to be the ones that dismiss what is being said, and actually listen, especially if there's a high possibility that you will get into the position. Now, next week we can talk about, not next week, next video, because I don't know if I'm going to post it next week. Next time, I should say, we can talk about some of the reasons why your resume or your application is not being, well, other than it not being reviewed, that it's not being forwarded to the hiring manager. And even after it is forwarded to the hiring manager, why the hiring manager is not selecting you, or why you're actually not getting called. There's a lot of factors. There's a lot of reasons and stuff. And before, we go too crazy with thinking that the federal government, oh my goodness, it's the worst place. It's like you can die before you get into the federal government, which is what I've heard people say and stuff. Before you continue that thinking, you need to know some of the processes. You need to know some of the reasons why things are done the way that they are done. And if you're seeing that something is not working, you may be doing everything that you need to do. You may be doing everything right. But it's just that the reasons why you're not getting called is beyond you. So, yeah. To keep this short, we'll discuss that next time. All right. Talk to you guys later. And again, let me know if you guys find any value, or if I don't need to beat that dead horse anymore. That we're going to let that, dead horse go on to heaven or whatever. Horsey heaven. Because you guys are going to actually take heed to what I'm saying and stuff to increase your chances. Again, if you have been listening, if you have been following what I've been saying, congratulations. There's a high chance that you're going to get hired, or you're going to get called for that interview. But if you want to make sure that you indeed get that call, Other than you reaching out to me, reach out to someone. Reach out to I would say someone who's qualified to help you, because I can't help everyone. But depending on the situation, depending on my schedule, I can definitely try to make time to help you, or to even do a 30-minute consultation with you, just to kind of ease your mind, or to kind of let you know what you need to do, tips and tricks, and so forth, to help you. Now, some of the things that I'm saying are very broad, but then I know everybody has different specific reasons as to why they're not getting called, why their resumes are not being reviewed by HR, which is why I always put, the information into the description section that I have on there, the broad information that you need to know if you are, going to be hired and work in the federal government, because those information are very, necessary. You need to know, you know, the benefits of working in the federal government. So again, if you do need some assistance and you can't find any other federal HR person that can actually help you write your resume, or to counsel you, or to coach you, then reach out to me. My information is on the bottom, and I will make sure that, I reach back out to you to see what it is that I can help you with. All right, if you find value in this, please like and subscribe. You subscribe, I say to subscribe because then each time, I post a video, you'll be able to see it. Because I try to post as many videos as possible. However, I do get busy with working, writing resumes for other clients and stuff who have taken, who has made the investment into getting them into the federal government. I've had a lot of success rates. So if you want to try the best, then reach out. Talk to y'all later. Bye.